We will now discuss on another interferometer that is called Fabry-Perot interferometer, or it is also called FB interferometer. Fabry-Perot interferometer. The interferometer can be used for detecting wavelengths of unknown light, for detecting small distance, also refractive index of any medium. This interferometer also acts on the principle of division of amplitude, and if you are using broad source of light, circular fringes will be formed in the screen. In this particular interferometer, unlike Michelson interferometer, we will use only glass plates. No use of mirror will be there. Suppose I am drawing one imaginarily horizontal line and this to be the screen at any distance. Two parallel glass plates will act the or play the main role here. First, the glass plates will have a particular arrangement. I am coming to that. First, let me sketch the glass plates. These are the two glass plates. Let it be A, B, C and D, and this be E, F, G and H. These two glass plates will help in multiple reflection and refraction in order to create multiple reflection and refraction. Let this be the incident ray from a point P. It is incidenting with an angle theta with the horizontal line. These two glass plates are arranged in such a way that the AB and EF, these two edges will be parallel to each other, and the other two rays also will be parallel to each other. But the glass plates are not made exactly in rectangular form to prevent unnecessary multiple reflections in between. What will be the working of that? Try to understand the working first. A Fabry-Perot interferometer is contained of two glass plates AB, CD and EFGH. The faces AB and EF are actually plane parallel, and these faces are tiny silvered or thinly silvered with 80% reflectivity, and enclosed a path, or it helps to create a small or thin film in between. In this case, thin air film is being created. The other faces CD and GH are also plane parallel, but these are a little inclined to the faces AB and EF respectively. The faces are made in slightly angle. The angle is between 1 to 10 minutes of arc. Now, one of the two planes are kept fixed. Suppose this is kept fixed and other can move to change the distance in between the two glass plates or change the thickness of the thin film created in between. In this configuration, the instrument is called Fabry-Perot interferometer, and sometimes both the plates are kept at a fixed separation or both are movable. Generally, the separation between them is kept in between 1 to 200 nanometer. And if these are fixed in separation, then you have to introduce some material in between which will make the arrangement fixed. Generally quartz is used in between, and the whole arrangement then will be called Fabry-Perot etalon. Now, formation of the fringes from a source of monochromatic light. Let light is incidenting with an angle theta with the horizontal axis. Then it will suffer multiple reflection and refraction in between the air film created in between the two glass plates. Then it will suffer a path difference of 2d cos theta. If this condition for interference twice d cos of theta equals to n lambda is satisfied, then only I am expecting a maxima on the screen, where d is the separation in between. D is the separation in between the two glass plates. So then it will suffer multiple reflection and refraction in the air in between the parallel plates after incidenting on one sharp edge of one plate. Then according to the superposition principle, the transmitted wave will have the interference fringe pattern which will be created on the screen, and path difference will be created, that I told, 2d cos theta equals to n lambda is satisfied, then only you are getting a maxima. D is the thickness and n is the order number. Now I am doing a little calculation about the expression for intensity. How to get the expression for intensity? Before getting the expression for intensity, you have to know about the reflection coefficient and the transmission coefficient of the glass plates. So before calculating the expression for intensity, let us calculate the reflection coefficient and transmission coefficient. Expression for intensity. So let us consider that the incident ray which is falling on the first glass plate, the incident ray is having the intensity I0, so it will be its amplitude square. Let it be equation number 1. Then reflection coefficient R, that can be written as intensity of reflected wave, divided by intensity of incident wave. So it will be IR divided by I0. And what will be the value of IR? That will be equals to A suffix R square divided by A square. And if you consider the glass plates are having reflection coefficient small r, or small r part of the incident ray be reflected, then instead of that you can write A into R divided by A whole square, that is R square. A cancels out, so you can write capital R equals to R square. Whereas we have already considered that the glass plates are having arrangement in such a way that if a part of the ray is being transmitted through it, then what extent of ray will be transmitted? The ray will be A into small t. Concentrate on this arrangement. This arrangement is most required. It is transmitted. So I have considered a coefficient t, that if the incident ray is having amplitude a part of the AT will be transmitted through. Then if it is suffering reflection here, then what amount of ray will be reflected here? Another a part of the ray ATR will be reflected, where R is the another coefficient multiplied with the previous ray. The R part of that previous ray will be reflected. Then again from that surface, if the ray is again reflected, then what part of ray will be coming in this direction? It will be ATR square. Similarly, if it is again being reflected, then what part of ray will be reflected back? It will be ATR cube. Then again after reflection in this direction, it will be ATR to the power 4. Now you concentrate the part of the ray which has been transmitted through. So the transmitted through, it will be again, if it is transmitted, it will be another multiple coefficient with t. So it will be AT square. This ray, if it is being transmitted in this direction, then it will be AT square R square. Again, if it is transmitted through, then this ray will be AT square R to the power 4, and so on. Now in this position, you are allowing one plano convex lens in order to converge the rays on the screen. So if the rays are being converged on the screen you will be expecting interference fringe pattern to occur, because these rays are being divided from one single ray after multiple reflection and diffraction. So the condition for division of amplitude is being satisfied, and they are having different paths. So path difference will introduce phase difference. So rays with different path difference or phase difference are interfering at a point in the screen. So you are expecting interference here. If the condition be satisfied of that is it is having even multiple of lambda by 2, then it will be maxima. Odd multiple of lambda by 2, it will be minima. Try and understand this picture very carefully. This is AT being reflected ATR, again reflected ATR square, again reflected ATR cube, again reflected ATR to the power 4. That is, for every reflection, R is multiplied with the amplitude. For every transmission, T is multiplied with the transmitted ray. So we have calculated the reflection coefficient. So reflection coefficient R equals to capital R equals to R square. Similarly, we can calculate the transmission coefficient T. If it is transmission coefficient is T, then T can be written as intensity of transmitted ray, intensity of transmitted wave divided by intensity of incident wave. Similar to that, I can write it is A T square divided by A square, that is A into T divided by A whole square, that is equals to T square. So I can write capital T equals to T square. I will use this equation later, capital R equals to R square and capital T equals to small t square. Remember these two. Then let us calculate the intensity distribution pattern. How you will calculate the intensity distribution pattern? This is very easy. You have to first calculate the disturbance at any particular point of superposition. Then you have to apply the conditions for interference. So what we have seen in the previous figure? In the previous figure we have seen the rays which are interfering are having the amplitude AT square, AT square R square, AT square R to the power 4 and so on. Okay. So I will use the rays, first 3 rays, then dot 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 etc., because multiple reflection will be there depending upon the length of these two glass arrangements. Multiple reflections will be there. So infinite rays may be there in between. If the length of the bars are infinite, if the length is finite, then finite number of rays will interfere. We will calculate both. If it is infinite, then what will be the condition? If it is finite, then what will be the condition? First we will calculate in case of infinite number of rays. So what we can write now, that in case of interference there will be superposition of the waves, and which rays are going to superpose? The rays are going to superpose are y equals to real part of RP means real part of A T square e to the power I omega t for the first ray. For the second ray it will be real part of A T square R square e to the power I omega t minus delta. What is delta? The phase difference between the two consecutive rays. Then similarly what will be y3? Real part of, if you have followed the figure, then the third ray was having amplitude A T square R to the power 4 e to the power I omega t minus 2i's delta. Look, with increase in number y1, y2, y3, this term is changing, amplitude term. First it was AT square, then AT square R square, then AT square R to the power 4, and one phase difference is being introduced. The first one phase difference 0, second one delta, third one minus 2 delta, and the fourth one it will be minus 4 delta, and so on. So assuming that we are assuming that infinite number of rays are being superposed. For infinite number of rays, if infinite number of rays are superposing, then the resultant displacement or the disturbance at the point of superposition will be equals to y1 plus y2 plus y3 plus dot 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 etc. So I can write it as a t square e to the power I omega t plus a t square r square e to the power I omega t minus delta plus a t square r to the power 4 e to the power I omega t minus 2i is delta plus dot 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 etc. Got it? Okay. Then for simplicity I am writing this equation as a t square e to the power I omega t divided by, okay, I am taking first a to the power I omega t common, a t square e to the power I omega t common, then first term will be 1, second term will be r square e to the power minus I delta plus r to the power 4 e to the power minus I 2i is delta plus dot 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 etc. So it can be written as a t square e to the power I omega t divided by 1 minus r square e to the power minus I delta. This can be written like that. This is y, the displacement. So if the displacement is known to you now, then you can easily calculate the amplitude and the intensity. So amplitude of this displacement will be equals to, leaving the phase part, rest of the part is amplitude. So a t square 1 minus r square e to the power minus I delta. This is the amplitude part. So if the amplitude part is now known to you, you can easily calculate the intensity. How? Amplitude part, this can be written as e to the power I delta. How you can expand e to the power I delta? You can expand it like that, e to the power minus ix equals to cos x minus I sin x. So you can write it as 1 minus r square, this one, then e to the power minus I delta. This will be cos of delta minus I sin of delta. So look, you got the value of a. So complex conjugate a star you can calculate. Then intensity I will be equals to a star. Multiplying these two, the intensity expression will be equals to a square t to the power 4 whole divided by 1 minus r square cos of delta its whole square plus r to the power 4 sin square delta. This will be the expression for intensity in case of Fabry-Perot interferometer. You can simplify it more. How you can simplify it more? You can write whole of the equation in terms of r, the reflection coefficient. I am showing you. First you have to simplify this part. Simplify the squaring. After squaring and all this thing, you will be getting the intensity expression like that. I will be equals to, first you have to do the squaring and all this thing. I am jumping the step. You will be getting I equals to a square t to the power 4. This part is unaltered. Then 1 minus r square whole square plus twice r square into 1 minus cos of delta. After squaring and adding, you will be getting this one. Then you have to apply a trick. The trick is very simple. You know I0 equals to a square. Also you know r equals to small r square. Capital T equals to small t square. That you know. Also you know r plus t should be equals to 1. That is the reflection plus transmission. This value will be always unity. So instead of this t square, you can write 1 minus r square. Okay, so instead of this t square, you can write as 1 minus r square. So t square can be, t to the power 4 can be replaced with 1 minus r then whole square. So instead of that, you can write I0 then 1 minus capital R whole square whole divided by 1 minus capital R whole square plus 4 r sin square delta by 2. This one. And after simplifying this one, finally you will reach to a result I equals to this I0 whole divided by 1 plus 4r divided by 1 minus r whole square sine square delta by 2. Now let me introduce a new term, simplicity of calculation, f. F is equals to 4r whole divided by 1 minus r whole square. Okay, so I can write I equals to I0 whole divided by 1 plus f sine square delta by 2. This will be the intensity expression in case of Fabry-Perot interferometer. Now the conditions for maxima and minima. For what value of this delta, all other terms are constant. F is constant, I0 is constant, only the variation is with delta. So for what value of delta you are getting I to be maximum, I will be equals to I max, that is I, that will be equals to I0 if this sine square delta by 2, this term is 0. It is having its minimum value. This is the condition for maxima. And what will be the condition for minima? This for maxima, and condition for minima, it will have its most higher value. What is its most higher value? I equals to I0 whole divided by 1 plus f when sine square delta by 2, that is equals to 1, its maximum value. Then only you are getting I equals to I min. So this is I max. I can write this I max, and for this I can write I min. This for minima. Then as per the previous calculation for Michelson interferometer, in Michelson interferometer we have seen a new term was introduced, visibility. Visibility V, it was written as I max minus I min divided by I max plus I min. Then you put the value of I max and I min that you have calculated. You got I max equals to I0 and I min was equals to I0 whole divided by 1 plus f, the whole divided by I0 plus I0 divided by 1 plus f. After simplification you will get the value of visibility to be f by f plus 2. And now we put the value of f. F was equals to what? F was equals to 4r divided by 1 minus r whole square. Now we put the value of f here. After putting the value of f, you will again get v equals to twice r whole divided by 1 plus r square. This is visibility in terms of reflection coefficient. But don't bother, you can still calculate it in terms of transmission coefficient, because you know r plus t is equals to always 1. If you replace the r with t, you can get the value of visibility in terms of t, transmission coefficient. So what we have calculated till now is considering that infinite number of waves are going to superpose. But in reality, if the dimension of the two glass plates are limited, then only finite number of rays will interfere. After that it will pass through multiple reflection. The scenario with the finite ray, you can see the calculation is done in any book. Only the difference will be in calculating the displacement, y will be equals to y1 plus y2 plus dot 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 etc. plus yn. N number of rays will interfere. Only with the limit of n you have to do the calculation, and in that case the calculation will be a little different, and in the expression of intensity will be a little different also. I am giving you the final result for the value of the amplitude as well as the intensity. In that case, if you do calculate with a finite number of waves, that is n number of waves, you will get the amplitude expression to be at square whole bracket 1 minus r to the power twice n into e to the power minus I n delta divided by 1 minus r square e to the power minus I delta bracket close. And intensity expression you can calculate with A star. The intensity expression, if you put here A star, the intensity expression will be little longer than the previous case. The intensity expression I will be equals to I0 t square in terms of transmission coefficient. Then bracket start 1 minus capital R to the power n whole square plus 4 capital R to the power n sine square capital N delta by 2 whole divided by 1 minus R whole square plus 4 capital R sine square delta by 2. This one. So you can see for finite number of rays the calculation is little different. It is not difficult, it is a little different only. Then we will see the Rayleigh criteria or resolving power. Resolving power. So the intensity expression that we have seen, like grating with n number of parallel slits, the principal maxima, when you are getting a maxima, when you are getting the value of this delta by 2 equals to n pi, this part is small, then you are getting a maxima. So the maxima, this is governed by delta by 2 tending to n pi, but the minima, all the minima, this will be governed by n delta by 2, similar to grating. Now what we are considering, those two successive maxima are having n minus 1 minima in between them. If I am having two successive maxima, one maxima and another maxima, exactly what we did in case of grating, between two successive maxima there will be n minus 1 number of minima. Now if the value of n is very large, then we can consider instead of n minus 1, we will consider n minus 1 is tending to n. So change in the order number of the principal maxima for a minima is dn equals to 1 by n. Again I repeat, in between two consecutive maxima there will be n minus 1 number of minima, as similar as grating. So I can say that an n minus 1 is tending to n if the value of n is very large. So we can say the change in the order number of principal maxima for a minima is dn equals to 1 by n. Now the Rayleigh criteria for resolving power that you have seen already, that if I am having two maxima where the maxima is intersecting, this value should be at least I0 into 0.81 in order to get a minima or dip between them. Otherwise it will be looking as a maxima constructed by these two maxima. One summation of maxima will be appear to you. But if the cross section point or the solution point is of the order or lower than I0 into 0.81, then only in between them you are expecting a dip. That is, in between two maxima you are getting a minima, so that you can easily identify these two maxima according to Rayleigh criteria. So what we are considering, that we are considering for resolving power, that I am having two very close wavelengths. One is lambda and another is lambda plus d lambda. These two close wavelengths, and these two close wavelengths are creating their individual fringe pattern. And what is the path difference between them? Path difference that I know, twice d cos of theta, because the angle of inclination of the ray which was incidenting on the glass plate, that was equals to theta, and the separation between the two glass plates was equals to d. So the path difference between them will be equals to twice d cos theta. So twice d cos theta is the path difference, and this will be satisfied for both the rays interfering at the point and which are having a close difference in wavelength, and this is d lambda. So we can write the path difference be satisfied like that. If we consider that nth order principal maxima of d lambda plus d lambda falls on the first minima, corresponds to nth order principal maxima of lambda. I repeat, nth order principal maxima of lambda plus d lambda. So if I introduce twice d cos of theta, this is path difference, and nth order principal maxima for lambda plus d lambda. So I can write n into lambda plus d lambda to be satisfied for this. Then if I consider then for the another ray, that is it is superposing on the first minima corresponds to nth order principal maxima of lambda. So from that I can again write this to be n plus dn into lambda. After solution you can write n lambda plus n d lambda, here n lambda plus dn into lambda. This n lambda cancels out both the sides. What I have considered that I am having two maxima, one is for lambda plus d lambda, another is for lambda, and for lambda plus d lambda nth order maxima is superposing on the first minima constructed by the wavelength lambda. So consider superposition principle is satisfied here. After superposition principle I am getting two terms cancelled, and I can write lambda by d lambda equals to capital N into small n. Actually you will first get it small n by dn, then putting the value of 1 by dn equals to capital N, I can write this one. So this is the expression for resolving power as we got in case of Rayleigh criteria. So the resultant intensity curve has a dip in between the peaks. For just to resolve the peaks to the dip has an intensity, this solution that I told, solution should have a intensity of 0.081 I0. So we have the intensity at the point O, what I told, this point, if you consider this point is O, on that particular point I am having the intensity of that. I can write it as so the point of intersection of the incident curve is 0.81 by 2 I0, the intersection point, that is equals to 0.405 I0. You can put the value in the result that the intensity expression was I equals to I0 whole divided by 1 plus f sine square delta by 2, expression for intensity. Instead of this I am now writing 0.405 I0. Then I0 will cancel both the sides, and finally you will get sine delta by 2 equals to 1.21 divided by root over of f. F is a factor and we know the value of that. If delta is now very small, this sine delta by 2, that will be equals to delta by 2, and that will be equals to 1.21 whole divided by root over of f. So the value of delta you have calculated out. As you have calculated the value of delta, now you can easily calculate the value of this resolving power, wherefrom you have to calculate the value of capital N. After calculating the value of capital N, you can easily put the value here, then you can calculate the value of the resolving power. I am trying this one. First, what we are trying, suppose we have a change in order number of 2 pi. Again, suppose we have a change in order number by 1 and phase change will be 2 pi, because I know in between the maxima and minima the phase difference is twice pi. So if I have a change in order number of 1, then the phase difference will be twice pi. It is equivalent to phase of twice pi. So what can I write? Change in order number by dn, that will introduce a change in phase by twice delta by twice pi. So from that calculation, if I put this and calculate the value of dn, this will be equals to the value of twice delta, 2 into the value of delta 1.21, then root over of f divided by 2 pi. You can put the value of pi and you can put the value of f. Finally you will reach to a result 1 minus capital R divided by root over of R lambda 2.59, that is equals to 1 by n. Now you know the value of, calculate the value of n can be calculated out. Then you can put the value of resolving power equals to lambda by d lambda equals to capital N into small n. Now if you put the values, you will be getting 2.592 whole root over of R divided by 1 minus R into small n. This is the expression for resolving power in case of Fabry-Perot interferometer. Last topic to discuss, how we can calculate the unknown wavelength with Fabry-Perot interferometer. Measurement of wavelength. Suppose we are having two small wavelengths, lambda 1 and lambda 2. We are having very small wavelengths where we are considering lambda 1 is greater than lambda 2. And two waves, they have produced their individual fringe pattern, but the separation is kept fixed between the two glass plates is small d. Now the spectrum of the separation between the plate is adjusted to d1 such that the two fringe patterns coincide. I have introduced a separation d1 so that the fringe pattern for the individual wavelengths lambda 1 and lambda 2, they coincide. Then what will be the condition for superposition? It will be twice d1 cos of theta, the path difference 2d cos theta will be equals to n1 lambda 1 equals to n2 lambda 2. Now again the distance is being changed, or you can consider for normal incidence for simplicity of calculation. For normal incidence, theta tending to 0. So cos 0 equals to 1. So for normal incidence I can write twice d1 equals to n1 lambda 1 equals to n2 lambda 2. There is the separation is set in such a way that the fringe patterns of lambda 1 and lambda 2 are coinciding. Now I am changing the separation to d2 for second coincidence to occur. For the second coincidence, the equation will be similar. Twice d2 will be equals to n plus n, n1 plus nth order of lambda 1 is coinciding n2 plus n plus 1 next order of lambda 2. Mind the change. For the first one, which is having higher wavelength, there the change in order number is small, but which is having lower wavelength, there should be at least a change in order number of order 1 extra than the previous one in order to occur the second coincidence. So from these two equations I can equate the value of, equating these two equations I can write to subtracting that the twice d2 minus d1 will be equals to n lambda 1 equals to n plus 1 into lambda 2. So I can write lambda 1 minus lambda 2 equals to lambda 2 by n. So twice d2 minus d1 will be equals to n lambda 1, or this can be written as, I'm coming to that part, this can be written as 1 by n equals to lambda 1 divided by 2 into d2 minus d1. So finally you can write lambda 1 minus lambda 2 will be equals to lambda 1 lambda 2 divided by 2 into d2 minus d1. Applying this equation, you can calculate the separation between two very close wavelengths, lambda 1 and lambda 2. But you have to know the values of d1 and d2, for which the first and second coincidences are occurring. So with that we conclude the Fabry-Perot interferometer. The calculations are not very difficult, but you have to try the calculation once your own. Going through any book, first go through this video, try to jot it down, then go through any book, try to calculate it once your own. Calculations are very simple. The physics you have to understand, that in case of Michelson interferometer, how the mirrors are playing the main role, and in case of Fabry-Perot interferometer, how the glass plates are playing the main role in creating the fringe patterns. In case of Fabry-Perot interferometer also, you are getting circular fringes like that. And in case of Michelson interferometer, you can change the condition for central spot to be bright or dark depending upon the condition of path difference. In case of Fabry-Perot interferometer, you can do the same. Thank you.